Hello everyone, my name is Tom, and welcome to a quick chat where we're going to take a look at a specific topic in animation. So back in the news as of late is Pink Diamond and the possibility that maybe she is the true villain of Steven Universe. In the Steven Universe movie, we meet Spinel, a gem designed to be Pink Diamond's best friend, who is told to wait in Pink Diamond's garden for 6,000 years, while the events of basically everything on the Steven Universe timeline played out. This is what the kids call not cool. So people are suddenly clutching their pearls to condemn Pink Diamond, and you know what, y'all? Everybody acting like Rose Quartz, Pink Diamond, whatever we call her now, was just bad out of nowhere, when I've been telling y'all the whole time for more than 2 years now. But you know what? Let's take this Spinel situation and work backwards, because looking into the future, nobody was on board with me. Now, thanks to the Steven Universe movie, everyone is now on the Pink Diamond is bad train. But what has my goat here is everyone saying, this feels really out of nowhere. It just feels out of character. It makes no sense. People had their rose-tinted glasses on. They didn't want to see what was going on. But now, the glasses are off. Pink Diamond is the worst, and this is just her nature, and it has always been her nature. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, dang, y'all really have not been listening to me. But instead of dwelling on that, let's look at why Pink Diamond abandoning Spinel is 100% in character for her. The reason that I've always said that Rose Quartz is not the best person is because I could see from early on that she was not responsible, emotionally mature, or considerate of others. What Pink Diamond showed everyone in the way that she abandoned Spinel was that she is not willing to take responsibility for her actions or understanding how those actions affect others. Pink is selfish. She puts her needs above everyone else, even the people who look to her for guidance or depend on her. And this is nothing new. Pink has abandoned pretty much everyone in the story with little to any consideration to anyone's feelings except for her own, which is literally the center of every main conflict in the show. She lived her life carelessly and selfishly, leaving behind a giant mess for everyone to clean up now that she's gone. She has this habit where once someone no longer serves her needs or desires, she throws them away. When being a part of someone's life stops being convenient for her, she leaves with no consideration to the consequences she's leaving behind, which has happened with the gems, it's happened to Steven, it even happened to the diamonds. Which I think is a good place to start because I've been seeing a lot of people use this as a way to defend Pink, and I don't think it's a sound argument. People argue that everything wrong that Pink Diamond has done is a result of the Diamond's abuse. That the reason that Pink is so inclined to these destructive tendencies is a result of how the Diamonds treated her, and she's using that in the way that she treats people, which maybe to some degree that is true. But if we're going to believe that, and then decide it's a reason not to hold Pink accountable for the way that she treats people, even thousands of years after removing herself from that environment, then that's honestly ridiculous. I understand that abuse can really change you in the way you treat people. I've experienced that firsthand, and it's something that affects me literally to this day. But in my mistakes that stem from those experiences, I don't turn the blame onto anyone else but myself. My actions are my own, and I want to take responsibility for the bad decisions I make and how that affects others, regardless of what the external influence was inspiring those decisions or how little I recognize the person who made them. So that way, I can do better and elevate myself above that point in my life. And I genuinely believe that it does way more harm than good to believe that victims of abuse are expected to just act in toxic ways because of their past experiences. Patience is one thing, but if your actions harm others, then you need to be held accountable. And waving it off as it's okay because they're abused helps nobody. It creates a stigma for survivors and excuses behavior that is not excusable. Some of the most positive influences in my life are people who were abused by parents, authority figures, friends, or significant others, but consciously grew to be better people and do right by others because they understand why those behaviors are not acceptable. But Pink was never held accountable for anything she did. She was manipulative and covered up her mistakes as she ran from them. She used Rose Quartz as a way to run from the mistakes she made as Pink Diamond. She may have even believed that she could tell Spinel to wait for her, and by the time Spinel figured out that she wasn't coming back, Pink Diamond would have been shattered by Rose Quartz, which would have still been traumatic and devastating for Spinel, but it would have removed any expectation of responsibility on her end, which is 100% in character for her. Rose Quartz is symbolic of running from responsibility, no matter how negatively it affects others. When Pink manipulated Pearl into helping her stage her shattering, she made sure Pearl could never tell anyone, and gave no consideration to how that event would affect Pearl moving forward. No consideration to what she was letting Pearl believe in order to coerce Pearl into doing what she wanted her to do. She left Pearl with so much trauma attached to that event that we are just now seeing who Pearl really is, because she spent so much of the show trying to cope with all the emotional baggage that she was carrying, and you know what? Pearl screwed up a lot and did bad things on that journey back to finding the person that she was. The difference between Pearl and Pink Diamond is she didn't run from the decisions that she made. She was held accountable. She took responsibility by communicating with the people she hurt and resolved the issues that she caused, which was more than Pink ever did. Pink never even seemed to understand what she was doing was wrong. Like, here's the thing. People are saying how the diamonds are still awful because of the way that they need to correct themselves when calling other gems lower life forms, etc., but Pink was the exact same way. That was her legitimate worldview. The difference was, instead of discarding those who the diamonds would discard, she would try and find a use for them, while fundamentally still viewing them in the same way that the other diamonds did. Like, I still never got over the way that she talked down to Greg when he tried to fuse with her and laughed in his face, showing that even if she loved him, she didn't respect him. Rose had what I can only describe as a human fetish. She was infatuated with humans, but it was clear that she didn't respect humans, which as a diamond would apply to the gems as well. She had the compassion to treat Greg, Pearl, Amethyst, Garnet, Bismuth, and even Spinel like they were special and had something of value to offer, but once she lost interest, or found something new, or it just became inconvenient to have them in her life, she would become distant, and would almost always handle this situation very irresponsibly. Once she had the opportunity to explore her infatuation towards humans, Pearl faded into the background. When Bismuth became too passionate, Rose bubbled her. Once Rose started seeing Greg, it's implied that the gems became lower priority to her outside of crystal gem business, and obviously once she got her own colony and no longer needed her playmate, Spinel was left to wait for 6,000 years. And you can have your own views on each of those things, and whether or not they can be justified. And to be honest, I have different opinions on each event as well. But what all of them show is the nature of Pink Diamond. Her tendency to throw people away once she doesn't see a use for them anymore. And then once it was time for Steven to come along, things were a bit more fortunate, but we still see this habit. Greg obviously understood why she wouldn't be around anymore and was willing to let her sacrifice herself for the chance to raise their son. Garnet and Amethyst were understanding as well, assumedly for similar reasons. But Pearl felt like she didn't have a choice in the decision and was being left completely with the past trauma that Rose had put her through. Rose asked this huge favor of Pearl, which Pearl went along with because she was led to believe Rose was doing it because she'd rather be with her on Earth than be Pink Diamond. But then they got to Earth, and then Pearl became an afterthought as Rose explored her interest in humans until she met Greg and had Steven, leaving Pearl behind completely in the process. So in season 1, that was one of the first major problems that Pink left her son to solve for her. Steven was brought into the world to carry the weight of everything that Pink Diamond spent her life running from. Every fragmented relationship, every political mess, every heart she broke, everything she wasn't mature enough to face herself had to be dealt with by her teenage son. And no matter how genuinely empathetic, no matter how much more emotionally intelligent or how wise beyond his years Steven might be, he is still a kid. Good parents do not put their kids in a position where they need to be the adult. That's why Greg had Steven live with the gems despite wanting to be present in his life, because he knew that he would be able to provide his wisdom and compassion to be a good father, but he couldn't provide the stability or security that the gems could given his lifestyle. Greg did what he could to make things as easy as possible on Steven, so he could just be a kid and figure things out naturally, while Rose... Bro, do I even need to say it? The flaws of Pink Diamond have been present throughout the show, and if this was out of nowhere, then Steven would have responded to Spinel's experience with shock and disgust, but he had already been responding to his mother's actions like that for so long that all he could say to Spinel was,
"I can't believe Mom did that to you." Actually, I can totally believe it.
Like, bro, Susan Egan is out here telling people hating on her character that she gets it. Rebecca Sugar's on the Steven Universe podcast saying that Rose is kind of an awful person. We're past the point of interpretation on who this character is. You can have whatever opinion you want of Pink Diamond or Rose Quartz, but the text doesn't lie. The nature consistently portrayed by Rose Quartz is one that is irresponsible and unbothered by how that affects others. Whether you think that makes her a villain, or you entertain that she could be redeemed, that's up to your interpretation, and that's fine. But since season 1, this is who she has been. But what do you think? Would it be possible to redeem Pink Diamond given the opportunity? Let me know in the comments below, hit us up at Roundtable Vids on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at TommyPQM. And if you want to see more of me, be sure to check out Let's Talk with Tom, or watch my latest Runaway Club on the relationship between video games and cartoons. Of course, if you like this video, give it a like and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications to never miss a video. To go above and beyond in supporting the Roundtable, you can click the join button down below to become a channel member, or you can pledge to us on Patreon. Links in the description. As always, my name is Tom. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. See ya!